The message came from the far reaches of the Orion Spur. It wasn't a friendly greeting. It was an announcement, a declaration of superiority, wrapped in polished diplomatic tone. The Galactic Empire had discovered the Sol system, and according to their assessment, the primitive world called Earth would soon be brought into proper order under the authority of the Imperial Council. The message was received on every frequency. Every satellite, every comm line, every channel of communication suddenly carried the same metallic voice. People of the planet Earth, you have been observed. Your technology is inefficient, your governance unstable, and your place among the stars unearned. The Galactic Empire extends an offer of integration. Refuse, and you will face correction. At first, the world was silent. Then laughter echoed across continents. The analysts in orbital stations thought it was a prank. The military thought it was psychological warfare. But when the alien fleet arrived at the edge of the solar system, shimmering like a crescent of light against the void, no one was laughing anymore. The Empire's fleet numbered in the thousands. Each ship was longer than a city block, lined with plasma batteries capable of melting moons. The flagship, a vessel of obsidian metal that reflected no light, was said to be older than some civilizations in the galaxy. To the Empire, Earth was just another backwater to absorb. But the humans were not the same kind the galaxy remembered from old records. The humans of this age had changed. The first to respond was the Terran Defense Command. They didn't scramble in fear. They didn't beg for negotiation. They observed. They scanned every ship, every energy signature, every particle displacement. Within hours, their global network analyzed the fleet's structure, command hierarchy, and tactical limitations. What the aliens called undetectable cloaking was instantly mapped and decoded. When the alien fleet's transmission demanded surrender, Earth replied with a calm voice, broadcast across all frequencies. We acknowledge your presence. We do not consent to annexation. You are trespassing in Sol space. To the Imperial commander, it sounded absurd. The Empire had conquered thousands of worlds, crushed armadas that spanned solar systems, and erased civilizations that dared to resist. A single planet with atmospheric combustion engines and fragmentary colonies beyond Mars was not a threat. The Empire fired the first shot. A plasma lance the size of a mountain beam streaked toward Earth. It never reached the surface. In orbit, a single human defense satellite repositioned itself. It was a dull gray sphere, barely visible, with no visible weapons. The moment the plasma bolt crossed its range, it vanished. The energy dissipated like mist under sunlight. The alien command bridge fell into silence. The weapons readings didn't even show an impact. It was as if the energy had been unmade. Impossible, murmured one officer. But it wasn't impossible. Humanity had been preparing for decades, not for conquest, but for survival. The dawn of quantum manipulation had changed everything. Humanity had learned how to bend probability, how to erase an event before it happened, how to make energy simply cease to exist. Earth didn't retaliate immediately. They waited for the Empire to make the next move. The Empire did. Hundreds of ships opened fire in unison. The sky of space turned into a flood of energy storms, and then silence. Every beam, every missile, every kinetic slug simply stopped mid-flight, frozen in a still field. Then they reversed course. The Empire's own firepower turned against them. Explosions rippled across their formation. Ships disintegrated without sound, their shields collapsing like paper under rain. On the bridge of the Imperial flagship, chaos erupted. Officers shouted over one another, demanding explanations. None came. The systems that had always worked for centuries refused to respond. The voice of Earth spoke again. Calm, collected, almost polite. Your aggression is noted. You are advised to retreat beyond the Sol boundary. Further hostility will be interpreted as an attempt at self-destruction. To the Empire, the statement was arrogance. To the humans, it was mercy. The flagship charged its main weapon, an ancient singularity cannon capable of piercing planetary cores. Before it could fire, its systems went offline. Every circuit, every control, every spark of power simply shut down. The crew stared in horror as the stars outside dimmed. The human fleet emerged then, not massive in number but terrifying in precision. Dozens of sleek vessels shaped like silver arcs unfolded from distortion fields. They moved with impossible grace, not by engines, but by manipulation of space itself. One of the Imperial officers gasped. "They are bending reality around them." They were. Humanity's ships did not thrust or burn. They slipped through probability, phasing between locations as if teleporting. Their movements were flawless, deliberate, beautiful. The human commander, seated in the heart of the lead ship, watched the Imperial Armada with quiet curiosity. His voice carried through the network. "We tried peace for centuries. We offered trade. We shared knowledge. And every time someone from the stars decided we were primitive." His hand hovered over the control console. "Let us show them what primitive truly means." The human fleet fired once. Just once. There was no light. No explosion. No dramatic burst. Instead, the void rippled like water. The Imperial fleet ceased to exist, not destroyed, erased. No wreckage, no radiation, no trace of matter. Only empty coordinates where thousands of ships once stood. The galaxy would later call it the quiet annihilation. Back on Earth, no one celebrated.
Humanity had moved past the thrill of conquest.
The act was one of necessity, not pride. The Council of Earth convened to decide what to do next. Some argued to remain hidden. Others believed it was time to reveal what humanity had become. For centuries, they had watched the stars, studying the empires that ruled them, empires built on slavery, exploitation, and arrogance. Humanity had learned from them. They had evolved not just technologically but intellectually. The first contact centuries ago, long before this incident, had ended badly for humanity. But humans had learned to adapt. Every defeat was a lesson. Every threat was a spark of invention. Now humanity stood as something else entirely, a species that no longer needed expansion to prove dominance. They had become masters of understanding, of the structure of existence itself. When the remnants of the Empire's communication networks realized what had happened, panic spread across sectors. Fleets were recalled. Borders sealed. Some called it a new age of fear. Others whispered of divine retribution. In the Imperial capital, councilors argued over the event. How could an unrecognized civilization erase a fleet of that scale? How could their sensors fail to record any residual data? The Emperor, a being who had ruled for 3,000 years, demanded answers. His scholars analyzed fragments of telemetry, but every result returned the same impossibility. The data simply did not exist. "Who are these humans?" he asked quietly. The answer came days later. A human vessel entered the capital system, alone, unarmed, unshielded. The defense grid activated immediately, but before the Empire could fire, their systems froze. The ship sent a single message: "We are humanity. We do not seek conquest, but if you intend to rule by fear, we will show you the cost." The Emperor ordered communication. The human representative appeared on the central holofield, wearing no insignia of rank, no display of power. His words were measured, his tone calm. "You've built your empire through domination. You believe strength comes from the ability to destroy. You measure civilizations by their obedience. That philosophy ends today," the Emperor scoffed. "You dare challenge the structure that has stood for millennia?" The human nodded slightly. "We don't challenge it. We correct it." Before the Emperor could respond, the lights dimmed. The palace trembled. Every system in the capital city flickered off. The stars outside the grand window faded. For a moment, the galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. Then light returned. But the Emperor looked out and saw something impossible. The Empire's armada, its fleets, its stations, gone. The humans had done it again, silently, efficiently, without hate. "Why spare us?" the Emperor asked quietly. "Because extinction is easy," the human replied. "Understanding is harder. We prefer the harder path." With that, the transmission ended. The ship left the system without a trace. For the next decade, the galaxy changed. Empires that once ruled through oppression began to tremble. The name of Earth spread like wildfire, whispered by merchants, soldiers, and scholars alike. Some called them gods, others called them monsters, but humanity did not invade. They did not establish colonies or demand tribute. Instead, they offered something stranger: cooperation. When other species approached cautiously, humanity welcomed them. They shared clean energy, medicine, methods of communication beyond light speed. They opened the gates of knowledge, but they asked for one thing in return: respect. The balance of power in the galaxy shifted. Wars ended faster than they began. fleets disbanded. Even the old empire, now humbled, sent ambassadors to Earth seeking alliance. On the day the first interstellar summit was held on the moon, the human representative addressed the gathering. When we first reached the stars, we thought we were alone. When we found others, we were told we were beneath them. Now we know better. Not because we are stronger, but because we learned to listen to the universe itself. You rule by control. We thrive by understanding. The assembly was silent. The human continued. The